Bharat, known for its unity in diversity, is characterized by deep-rooted traditions. It is one of the oldest cultures, if I remember correctly, 4,500 years old. It has a tapestry of religion, languages, food, architecture, music. For hundreds of years, we have been savaged by foreign dominance and foreign invasion. However, what kept us apart and set us apart is our resilience to spring back, reducing the need to be dependent on other nations. However, for the past few years, we have been facing challenges due to globalization. We have here with us today a dynamic woman, Anuradha Gokhleji, and she's working on a very beautiful project for the nation called Ek Bharat, Hum Bharat, where we're trying to focus not just on the individual consciousness, but also the collective consciousness, patriotism, love for our nation, Bharat. Anuradha Gokhleji.
Namaste.
It's so wonderful to have you here. And it's my honor to bring you here because after having done much research, I really understand the extensive work that you've been doing for us.
Thank you.
I would like for you to tell the audience a little bit about yourself, your journey into adulthood.
So my name is Maitreyi Anuradha Gokhale. I have basically originated from Karachi. My grandfather was in Indian Army, rather that time British Army together.
Okay.
And just before the independence, we have shifted here. So patriotism, as you know, runs in my blood.
Yes.
I've grown up listening to the lullabies of nation. When people heard stories and songs about, what you would do in future, it was always about the nation. And my father's work actually took me across Bharat. And would you believe how many schools I changed in 10 years of schooling?
10.
Yes, indeed. So every year it used to be a new school, making new friends.
Yes.
And starting from there, finally we came back to Mumbai. I completed my engineering, my MBA from Mumbai. Worked with quite a few corporates like Reliance. I was working with DBS,
Okay.
Shriram Life Insurance, and that was my beginning. But knowing that I'm a people's person, I shifted to having my own corporate and career counseling firm. And along with that, I also had a restaurant of my own.
Oh, mama. And what was it called?
It was called Rendezvous of Food Lovers, an Italian joint.
My God, I love Italian food.
Indeed.
Yes, I do.
Now you must be thinking we are here to talk of Ek Bharat, Hum Bharat. Wow, how did this happen?
I am curious. I mean, that's why you're here on the podcast, my dear. I want everyone to know the significance of this particular project.
Indeed. So before I tell you about this project, you must know what actually made this shift. So living a life which was full of, proper corporate experiences, how did this shift happen is, while I kept moving from one experience to another, there was something with me which always wanted to know, who am I really? Throughout my life, I've had faith in Sai Baba.
Okay.
And all the work that I did was always with respect to two words, faith and patience.
Lovely.
And the values inculcated by my father and mother about giving back to the nation. So while growing on this path, I was not able to really understand who I am. And I started doing a search. So first, there was a gradual shift from Sai Baba to Mahavtar Babaji.
Oh.
And from Mahavtar Babaji, one day I came to know about Maitreya Dada Shriji. And to me, not being a very, I would not say I'm a very religious person, but always wanted to know the truth. So when I met Dada Shriji, the first thing he told was, don't consider me as a guru,
Okay.
consider me as a friend. It's okay if you don't believe in me or my Guruji Babaji. It's important that you find the answers for the solutions that you're looking for.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
That was something that I found quite good and very freeing inside,
Yeah, because that is what you were looking for.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And going ahead on this journey, he asked me, what's your favorite festival? I said, my favorite festival is Diwali. What do you do on Diwali? I love to light up house. How many lamps do you get? I said, closely approximately 12 dozens.
My God. Okay.
So he said, this year, why don't you give me two dozens of lamps? I said, I'll get you new ones.
Okay.
Dada Shriji is like, no, you have to get me 2 dozens from the ones you have.
Okay.
I said, fine, I'll go and get you those. So I went back to him, and 5 days before Diwali, I got went with those, 60 lamps to him. He said, now go to this Vada.
Uh-huh.
I was not aware of what Vada is, but he gave me the names of the families
Okay.
and gave me the names of the villages.
Uh-huh.
And I happened to visit there. When I went, what I was able to say, 5 days before Diwali, all the houses are lit up. Everything is cleaned. But
Yes.
these particular houses were not lit up.
All right. They didn't have lights.
They didn't have the lamps. So when Dada Shriji asked me to give those 6 lamps to each family, that happiness, that joy, and that first ever realization that I actually grow only by giving.
Beautiful.
By giving, my happiness is not reducing, but it's only increasing.
Yeah, it's like the light. Your
Indeed.
light just multiplies when you give it to others.
Indeed. And that was first ever time in my life I truly understood the meaning of seva.
Yes.
You grow by giving.
Seva is a word, that has been dwelling on me in the last couple of months a lot. In yesteryears, seva to me meant donating money, donating food to maybe, an old age home or to orphans, buying food for the poor. However, recently I've understood that seva is beyond and much more.
True.
Now that you've been spending so much of time in seva, could you throw some light on this, please?
Yeah. So generally, just the way you think, seva word is always associated with giving something to the others, where a giver feels, I am privileged to be giving something to someone. But what I truly learned with Dada Shriji is that seva is offering help. And you can offer help only when there is someone to
Take.
Yes. So generally, we see the hands of the givers are here
Yes.
and the receiver are here.
Yes, absolutely.
But what Dada Shriji taught us is if I want to give you something, I won't give you like this. I shall offer it to you.
Wonderful.
So with him, this was the true realization of the word seva.
And are there other forms of seva besides just donating?
Indeed, indeed. So seva, Dada Shriji says, can be performed at every living moment of your life. Can you
Okay.
believe that?
I do.
Every single
I'm seeing
moment.
that in the recent past.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So the first kind of help that you can offer to others is obviously the pratyaksha seva, wherein
Okay.
someone comes to ask for a help or you see someone you can help, you actually physically go there and help. That's called as pratyaksha seva. The second seva is apratyaksha seva. For example, I see that you have come to me or someone is in need of education. I am not able to provide you that, but I do know someone who can help you. So what do? I redirect you to that person.
All
That is
right.
apratyaksha seva.
That is indirect seva.
Indirect seva.
All right.
You're guiding.
Okay.
Then there is a third kind of seva, which I think we as Bharatiya Sanskriti are always taught to do. And that is dravya seva. Like whenever you see, you can feed the underprivileged or if you can sponsor somebody, that's dravya seva. But do you think is there any other way beyond this also we can do?
I am sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that way we find very profound, which is actually needed in this era, and that is Shravan Seva.
You're saying listen to somebody.
Listen to every person who comes to you intently by being present
Yeah.
without judging him.
That's so important, and this is something that we take even to the corporates where we say that listening is a very crucial skill and it's got to be very empathetic.
Indeed.
You're not just hearing, you're listening to somebody. Wonderful. And you call it the?
Shravan Seva.
Lovely. Okay.
And the last seva, now every person is coming to you. You may or may not be in a position to guide him, or maybe you're not able to guide him to someone else. You don't have money also to give him. And you've heard him. But don't stop here. Dada Shriji says the biggest form of seva is you pray for every person who comes in your contact.
That's a
Prarthana.
blessing. That's a blessing. Wonderful.
So this way, I mean, then there is nobody who can come and tell you, I didn't get a time to do seva today.
Yeah, because people think that, you got to physically go somewhere and do seva. That is another thing I've understood about seva. But you can so silently and indirectly serve other people.
And that doesn't even require your presence of other person. Just sit here, whatever is coming in your mind, you could just offer a prayer. And do you know what the prayer or the prarthana does?
Tell me.
The prarthana that you do, the prayer that you do, gives divine an opportunity to intervene in the life of the person you're praying for and send him the help he's been looking for long.
My God, I'm turning emotional right now. Very soon, I think my eyes are going to get moist over here. Tell me something, Anuradha-ji. I mean, the way you speak about seva, the bhav that you have about it. You've spent a lot of time in seva. What is it that made you leave the corporate world and focus so much? Did something happen that made you kind of focus on this particular aspect of life?
While sitting here with you, thinking, you know, now that you said it's 13 years,
Yes.
I am feeling it's, oh wow, it's 13 years.
Yeah.
But for me, from the day one that I started doing seva with Dada Shriji, it's never been, it's like as if the time has stopped.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I can't even believe it started 13 years ago, but it has been with the same intent, same passion. So in the initial days when I was looking after both, so I had a restaurant back then. I had my career and corporate training firm, and then, like I said, my work was in Karjat. So every day I would go to my restaurant. I would go and attend some of my clients at my
Alright.
corporate training, and then I would drive all the way to Karjat.
And that's a 2.5 hour drive
Yeah,
from
that's
Mumbai.
2.5 hour
Yeah.
drive, and then I would go there, and that gave me an opportunity to connect with the people on ground, looking at them, understanding the grassroots of India, and despite of all the challenges they faced, there was a simplicity and love in them, which was missing here.
Yeah.
So the more time I spent in seva,
Yeah.
the more I realized the need of people like you and me, people who I call as the haves, to be working for the have-nots.
Wonderful thought.
So while this journey from haves to haves not was going, I realized that the time that I'm giving only to do seva was less, and I wanted to do more and more and more. So 2 years into seva, 3 years into seva, slowly and steadily I started taking less of my assignments and giving more time there. And there came a time in my life when I internally had this strong call that this is what I want to do. I want to pursue doing my seva for the rest of my life. But let me tell you one thing, it's not an easy decision to make. You know
Not
why?
at all. Yeah.
The reason being, at the end of the month, we are so used to have that particular income coming to you.
Yes. Yes.
When you say you have your own training firm, and when you say you have your restaurant of your own,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
a status symbol.
Yes.
You have children, so children also need to say something to the world.
Yes.
You have your parents who say that we have educated you so much. So what did you do this for? Then that was the time I sat with my family. I'm truly blessed to have a family who comes from the patriotic background, but not just them. My daughter, who's 16-year-old now, my husband, and even my in-laws, they all said that if this is what you truly want to do, you can go ahead for it. They were a little apprehensive about the fact that I travel all alone, but slowly and steadily, they said that you should be doing it. Moving ahead from there, taking this leap of faith, because this is actually a leap of
It's a
faith.
leap of faith. Absolutely.
So what came to my mind was taking guidance from Maitreya Dada Shriji, and he emphasized on a word which is called as balance.
So how do you create a balance between your seva and your family life? Because you have a husband, you have a daughter, you have your in-laws.
Yes.
So how do you create that balance?
Yes. So I'm so glad you asked me this question, because people think leaving your corporate job and doing your social work is only about leaving your, the money comfort. But along with that also comes the family that you're taking care of.
Absolutely.
So Dada Shriji, when we had a talk with him,
Yeah.
he reminded me of a very powerful truth, which today through your podcast, I want to tell all the viewers.
Yes.
Dada Shriji says, women are the strength of the family. The nurturers that they are, they have the courage that they can not only grow themselves, but take along the entire family. So women never need to choose between career or seva or family.
Yes.
They can use Hindi ka or, that is and, seva, family and career.
Lovely.
Because by nature, women have been given a strength of nourishment. You see, when a small dust also goes in your eye, your
Yeah.
body tends to throw it out.
Of course. And
But
it
it's
pricks.
yeah, But still, the woman is able to actually have a baby inside her for
Yes,
9 months. Share womb, share flesh, share blood. And even after the birth, you're a nurturer by nature.
Completely.
So, what does that show? That women have a power to increase their capacity.
100%. I completely agree with you. And look at the fantastic work that you're doing right now. But I want to ask you one thing. You have been addressing Dada Shriji all along. Could you, in brief, a couple of sentences, tell us something about Dada Shriji?
Is that a question you really want to know? Because I can
Yes.
do a podcast on that.
Well, I just want for our audience to get to know something about Dada Shriji because, we've been saying Dada Shriji and divine friend, things like that. So I would want for the audience to know who is Dada Shriji. Of course, in short, the podcast can come later.
Yeah.
Because right now it's Ek Bharat, Hum Bharat
Yes, yes,
that we
yes,
want to
yes,
focus
yes.
on. Yes.
So, Maitreya Dada Shriji, to me, he is my divine friend.
Okay.
My divine friend, I'm saying.
Yes.
Someone I resonate as my own, someone who helped me recognize the purpose of my life, someone who allowed me to be me, and at the same time empowered me to become the best version of mine. That's who Dada Shriji is to me.
Okay.
For the audience, we always want to know who he is little more.
Yeah.
So, as you know, he has a very rich lineage.
Oh my God, yes.
The source of everything we call Shivji.
Yes.
So from Shivji, the same true knowledge was passed over to Agastya Muni
Yes.
10,000 years ago.
Yes.
From there, it was passed over to Mahavtar Babaji. Both of them, even Mahavtar Babaji and Agastya Muni, they are both there on this planet Earth. And in the year 2006, Maitreya Dada Shriji, who was an MBBS doctor back then, while he was exploring the more truth behind life, Babaji actually came in front of him and he said a very particular thing. The thing he said was, from today, my consciousness resides within you in the form of Prem Avatar to accomplish the mission of Maitri.
Wonderful. And I do sense that.
Yeah.
I do sense that because Mahavtar Babaji, I've been very close to him for several years. And when I first came to the DMK, I could feel that, I could resonate it.
And a little bit more about Dada Shriji that can help all of us to connect with
Yes.
that becoming our best version is, he's someone who's actually evolved from the state of human to that of the divine state. So I believe somebody who's seen all walks of life, who has been, through the entire journey of human being and has the proof that you can evolve to a future state, you can transform, is the person who can guide me. And that's exactly what he does. He says, in my presence, you don't need to do anything. You just be here and discover your own true self. So in his presence, all of us experience a lot of love, friendship, and that Maitri Bhav, when we take back with us, people are also experiencing. So it's from one to many. Peace within me is peace within you.
Absolutely.
And that's the peace within the world.
That's the energy you generate, you emit it, and then you pass it on. And that is what we need in today's world.
And that's what Dada Shriji wants.
So, what was that turning point in your life then, that you embarked on such a huge project?
Yeah. So like we talked about our, journey starting in the villages. So I was fortunate enough, before 2025, the journey with Maitri Bodh Parivar, the Seva projects that we took, we completed both sides, the social and the spiritual as well. You see, the journey of Maitri Bodh Parivar and Maitri mission is all about empowerment of human itself. The chanchal mind that we call about, the restless
The monkey mind.
the monkey mind.
In English, yes.
Yeah. But that's exactly, whenever we talk about mind, we just, you see the kind of face we made.
Yes.
But what Maitreya wants us to remember is your mind is also your friend.
Yes.
So Maitri needs to begin with you.
Yeah.
You need to be in harmony, not just with others, but before that, your body, your mind, your heart and your soul needs to be in Maitri.
aligned.
That needs to be in alignment, in Maitri, in friendship. So once you are in harmony with yourself, you can go out. So that is the Maitri Bodh.
Parivar.
Yes.
So you're experiencing something within.
Yeah. So on this journey, whatever I was experiencing through the structured programs that we have, which are actually looking towards evolving a human mind into a, peaceful mind, a empowered mind, a lot of both series, Maitri Chitta Shuddhi Kriya, stress management programs have been conducted. And my journey with the Seva has taken me across Bharat to do that. Along with that,
So is that how you decided on Ek Bharat, Hum Bharat?
A little bit before that. A
Okay.
little bit before
All
that.
right. Okay.
So that was the, the spiritual aspect. But like my journey began with the social seva. So that social seva that began from that one pada, I remember I told you about.
Yes.
In 4 years, it went from 4 villages to 97 villages.
Yes.
Maitri Bodh Parivar started a Gurukul, a Gaushala, a lot of village empowerment programs, women empowerment programs. And within few years, from just few hundred people, we now have more than 10,000 villages connected to us.
That is a humongous
Number.
journey and a number.
Yeah, the biggest learning that we have been getting, that human minds, whether they are in villages or in cities, they are same. Everybody is looking for only one thing.
Love and peace.
Indeed. So never did I thought that, in my life, I would get an opportunity to impact life of so many. But there was a point that presented me with an opportunity to work even with a larger cause. I remember 4th December 2024. Maitreya Dada Shriji keeps giving a lot of messages to the world.
Absolutely.
But he came up with an urgent and an important message for humanity, specifically for the citizens of Bharat, which changed my life. The message that he got was, if we look around us, the things are changing. And these changes are now forcing all of us to ensure what our role is. Whether we are active right now or passive, the time has come when we make a change. We decide to make a change before it's too late. The coming generation, the coming times require each one of us to remember one truth that we have forgotten. And that truth is?
Ek Bharat, Hum Bharat, that we are together.
We are together.
Yes.
The truth that we are belonging to Bharat. And Bharat is defined by its Sanskriti. And that Sanskriti is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam.
One family.
A family which not just includes the human beings, but even the flora, fauna, and entire nature.
So it's the entire cosmic, it's the entire consciousness.
Indeed. And because we have forgotten this truth, we are moving away from it. So what happens when we move away from light?
When you de-link yourself from anything that is natural, you definitely have to suffer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So right now, all of us are kind of an ignorance, and therefore we have moved away from it. And therefore you can see the issues which are happening.
Yes.
So Dada Shriji said, if all of us want to do one act for the nation, the time has come when we remember our kartavya, that is our duty towards the nation.
Absolutely.
And just 2 duties. First, remember how important Bharat is with its glorious past and our Sanskriti. And second, celebrate the unity in diversity.
Oh, that was my first statement when I said that we're known for our university.
Indeed.
Oh dear. I'm glad I made that statement because I believe so much, in our national integration and Bharat.
Yeah.
So this vision is large. How are you working on this vision? Could you tell us something?
Now it feels like I was here some months ago. I distinctly remember in the month of Jan, when after hearing this particular call and telling Dada Shriji that we would like to work on this mission, he said you can work on this mission. So exact same thought came into my mind that we are a population of 1.8 billion. Different sex, different societies, different classes. What are we gonna do? Then that's when we started thinking, and we came to know one thing, that despite everything that we are different in, there's one thing that is similar in us, that we know we are one. So do you remember what happened on 22nd April 2025?
Maybe you'll have to remind me. I know that some disaster took place.
Yeah, a man-made disaster.
Yes.
Something that was even beyond our thought process.
Yes.
It was the day Pahalgam attack happened.
Yes.
it was this day, in the broad daylight, some terrorists truly attacked our tourists and shot them in broad daylight. Sitting here in Mumbai, thinking about Ek Bharat, Ham Bharat, it was like I could bear no more of sitting here. And in consultation with Maitreya Dadashri ji, I decided to travel to Srinagar.
That was really a bold move.
Bold, okay.
Courageous?
In the hindsight, it may look like,
Yeah.
but it was something which came very naturally to me.
Spontaneously.
Because we are talking about Bharat.
Yes.
And the Sanskriti of Bharat is that about Shraddhanjali, being there. When something happens in someone's house, we don't condemn attacks.
No.
We go there and offer our support.
Absolutely.
So I decided that I would like to be going to Kashmir and becoming a part and supporting the people.
Yes.
So 22nd April this happened, and on 26th of April, literally 4 days after,
Yes.
I was actually going to Kashmir all by myself.
So that's why I said it's a very bold and courageous move.
Yeah, till the time I sat in the flat, I didn't know it. So when I was in the airplane, generally a flight has around 300 people.
Yes.
That day it was only 9.
The fear of traveling anywhere kept people away.
Yeah, and it was just me as a single civilian. Rest all were army men.
Army people.
So sitting in the airplane, I started understanding the gravity of the situation you're doing in. I did not know anybody in Kashmir. I got down at Srinagar airport. It was almost like no one was there. The only place I knew in Kashmir, that Srinagar, was Lal Chowk. So after checking into a hotel, I went to Lal Chowk. And we had done a program called as Transform Jammu and Kashmir.
Okay.
So I knew 2 youth out there over the phone. So since those youth were not there, their friends, so acquaintances came there.
Okay.
And I told them that I have come from, Mumbai, Maharashtra. And we would like to, make a Shraddhanjali Yatra for deceased. So their first question was, ma'am, why have you come here? Like, you were sitting quite peacefully out there in Mumbai. Why did you come here? Why are you in the danger zone? I said, I'm here to remind you, Ek Bharat, Ham Bharat. We not only share our Sanskriti, but we also share our pain.
Yes.
Listening
What a
to
beautiful
this,
thought.
yeah. So listening to this, not just those 2, they said, with us another 16 people will come and we will do a Shraddhanjali Yatra with you. The next step obviously was getting the permissions. And you know how easy it is to get those.
Yeah, I know you're being sarcastic.
So in Kashmir, it was even a little bit more difficult because we had to take permission not just from police, but also from the army. But with the local support, after answering few questions, the same ones, we did get the permissions. The next step, I needed to have the placards. So generally we give it a print, right?
Yes.
But what do you do in Srinagar?
You painted? You drew them?
Had to do that.
Aha.
First looked for a stationery store,
Yes.
got those and
Uh-huh.
started making it in writing. And I was happy that now tomorrow in the evening at 8 o'clock at Srinagar, we will do a Shraddhanjali Yatra.
Yeah.
Then I had a talk with somebody in my organization. And then the message was, is it possible for you to travel to Pahalgam? The actual place.
The place where...
Yeah. So
So were
again,
you frightened?
no.
Oh, nice.
The 2 things that never made me afraid on this journey was A, the faith that I was there with the, power and the courage of my guru, my Maitreya Dadashri ji.
Dadashri.
And second, the nation.
Yeah.
Was I traveling to some unknown place? I was traveling in my nation.
Yes.
So I was not afraid. But the only question was, when you reach to Kashmir, you have to buy a new SIM.
And don't tell me you didn't have that.
No, I did have a SIM.
Okay.
But all the GPay
Huh.
was on the previous number.
You were stranded.
Yeah, so I had only 5,000 cash and one
Uh-huh.
card.
Okay.
And I had to travel to
So
Pahalgam.
how did you manage that?
Yeah, I did manage that.
Yeah.
So I called up these boys and I told them, will you come with me to Pahalgam? They're like, we don't have the permissions, ma'am. I said, let's try. So they were like, what if we don't get the way? I said, we'll come back, but let's go. Then they said, ma'am, do you have your own car? I said, I'll be traveling with you. But very, very courageous boy.
Sorry, I'm laughing with the way you're saying it. No, I'll be traveling with you.
But
That
let-
is being courageous.
Yeah, but let me tell you a very stark difference that I found. The youth in Kashmir, they really told me we will. And 7 o'clock in the morning,
They were there.
they were there. 4 cars, their drivers I didn't know. Most of them spoke Kashmiri language, which I didn't know much. I was meeting all of them for the first time in my life. And we started our journey with only one thought in our mind that whatever we are doing it for the nation. I was quite happy because I thought when I started from there, I was one.
And now you're multiple.
Then when I was at Srinagar, we were 2. And we were starting this journey with 16. And I thought if at all we get to reach Pahalgam, I'll talk to locals and we'll have another 4-5 people. So my number that I was looking for was around 30. So we were walking and we were, going, we were having a general discussion. And we passed Pulwama. Trust me, when we crossed Pulwama, there was a silence. Nobody was talking. A beautiful journey across mountains, but in the heart, it was only that this beautiful nation, this beautiful place, still so much pain. We continued traveling, and just around 10 minutes before our Pahalgam, by the way, nobody stopped us. We didn't have the permissions, but nobody stopped us.
You had Dada Shriji's blessings.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And as we started moving towards the journey, what happened is the population on the road started decreasing. Less and less number of people on the road. No men, no women, only the army tanks and the police. It was a little unsettling, but we kept moving. And 10 minutes before, I get a call. Madam, aap kahan par hai? I was like, who's calling me here? No, we are waiting for you.
Ah.
Who's waiting for me?
You
So he
had
said,
a group of people waiting for you.
and I asked, who is it? So he said, वो मैडम जी आपने poster डाला था ना WhatsApp. I put the WhatsApp status. They said, we saw that and we are waiting for you. Incredibly happy I was. We went there and I was expecting a group of 10 people. But would you believe there was a hall full of 180 people waiting for us.
I need to applaud you for that.
All the grace. So when I reached there, those 16 of us and those 180, we were sitting together, we were watching Man Ki Baat. And post that, all of us walked for 2 kilometers. I did not carry the flags of Bharat, but the locals had already carried the flags of Bharat. We had the flags of Bharat, the placards we made, and we were walking together. And trust me, even right now, I'm transported to the moment. We are walking on the road. There's a crowd of almost 200 people following you. We don't know each other, but it's only Ek Bharat. Hum Bharat. So many of us walking 2 kilometer journey. Towards the end, we stopped. We offered a Mount Shraddhanjali for 2 minutes, keeping silent. And just when all of us were quiet, we could hear the slogans. Hindustan ke hum hai, Hindustan hamara. And from a distance, I saw so many people walking. And they were dressed in the pathanis. And they were walking. So the people who were with me, I asked them, who are they? So they said they're Gujjar Bakriwals, the original tribals of Kashmir.
Okay.
And we requested them. See, I didn't know their language because all the posters they had written were in Kashmiri language, maybe Urdu. But we requested them, we told them we are here for that. And even those 100 joined us.
What a marvelous journey. What a marvelous turnout.
Yeah, and that was the turning point of my life, that from 1 to 2 to 250, it actually happened.
And in a span of a short time.
Yeah.
You didn't have to really do much. Everybody else came and supported you.
And all I did was remind people that we are one. The unity and the harmony. So after that, when we came back, for some reason, I came back to Mumbai. But in the evening at 7 o'clock, I was not there. What do you think? The people in Kashmir, they did the Shraddhanjali Yatra in Lal Chowk?
No, I don't know. You tell me.
They did. I wasn't there. Yet, the youth out there, the 30-35 of them came together, the ones who traveled with me out there.
Yes.
They traveled here also. Distinctly, the two institutions they were with, there's a Drug Free Kashmir and Youth for Kashmir. These were the two organizations. The youth, they actually did that outdoors.
So that's their love for the nation, the patriotism they felt. And they felt responsible.
Yeah. And the previous question that you asked, 1.8 billion people, how? So this was the answer. I realized that when we are able to travel, when we are able to connect to the goodness of the people, we appreciate that. That is the harmony that we'll be taking ahead.
I must say, very commendable, Anuradha ji. The role that you have embarked on, you've mustered the courage, mastered it all. I mean, to be going there all alone, I don't know if I could see myself there. It's such a large vision. And population, as you said, is even larger, 1.8 billion. How are you going to take this further? How is it that, all of us can contribute towards this particular vision that is so huge?
So, like we said, the Kashmir journey gave me an understanding of the people that when goodness is celebrated, people come together. So, with the same thought, we decided we brainstormed, a lot of us brainstormed together,
Okay.
and we decided few categories: youth, culture, women empowerment, education, and environment. These are the 5 essential criterion that our country grows on. So we decided, how if we go and connect with the people who are already doing the good work in this field. You see, Ek Bharat Ham Bharat is all about bringing that sense of collective contribution
Yes,
as well as responsibility towards your nation,
completely.
but not being told by, but by being
Come from within.
self-ignited.
Yes.
So when we are going on this journey, the first, let's say the first Rajya, जिसे हम state कहते हैं, that we went to was West Bengal. One of another, our member from Maitri Bodh Parivar, Yogeshwar ji. So with him, we reached to the West Bengal. We were in Kolkata. We met a lot of people on ground. We were there for almost for 15 days. We were in Kolkata. We traveled. We met NGOs. We met college people. We went to villages. We even did 2 borders. We went to Nepal border.
Okay.
We went to Bangladesh border.
Uh-huh.
We went to the villages, to the schools and colleges, and we actually reminded everybody of the same message. We would go, we would talk to people, we would appreciate their goodness for Ek Bharat Ham Bharat and request them to contribute back for the nation.
And how did they receive all of this?
They were pretty welcoming. So one thing I must tell you, that Ek Bharat Ham Bharat is not led by one person. It's a people-led movement. So in Kashmir, I saw it. Once we finished our journey in West Bengal, a similar thing I witnessed in Maharashtra as well. 2 of our dear friends, Dr. Hemant ji and Sainath Shetty ji, they also arranged for sessions with, where? In the colleges for medicals. We also got an opportunity to go to engineering colleges. Madhumati ji helped me to go to Akola. So within a span of literally 2 months, we had already covered 4 states, I think 8 different type of institutes, and just along with the Maharashtra came Goa, where single-handedly we started even working with NSS. So medical colleges, engineering colleges, NGOs, NSS units, the NCC cadets, the army people,
All right.
the police people, it slowly started developing on its own. And before we knew, there were so many of us. Moving further, the concept developed into one fact. Will it be continued? Because एक बार करना है या बार बार करना है?
Huh.
So then we decided that each month we would give them a theme.
Okay.
And on that theme, wherever we went, we requested people to contribute 1 hour for the nation.
So you have multiple people that goes into maybe hundreds, and each one contributing 1 hour a day. What is the math?
Math, before the math, I would just tell you that this journey has just not stopped on 4 states.
Okay.
With so many people, we even covered, I think, the entire Bharat, 77 cities, 21 states, just in 9 months.
What do I do? What
And-
more do I say about you?
No,
My
it's not
gosh.
about me. It's all about the people who were. We have had people, Shivam ji, Noor ji, who helped us move right till Pakistan from Amritsar side. We again met the government people, government bodies out there. When we talked about southern India, we have a very dear friend who's working with Ek Bharat Ham Bharat as the institutional coordinator, Dr. Kunti ji.
All right.
That was a very embarrassing journey. In 11 days, we covered 6 states. We went to 14 cities and we did across 22 sessions with corporates this time.
Okay. And you were trying to tell them about Ek Bharat Hum Bharat.
You see, Ek Bharat Hum Bharat is not just only about the nation. It's a philosophy that involves you
Yes.
as the first unit, your family as the second, the organization and the institution you work for as the third, and finally giving back to the community. When the haves come together and work for the haves not, that's when truly what happens is we all come together. And not just the names that I took, but there are innumerable people who have been helping here, who have never been here with me, but they have been helping in back-end support, be it travel, be it the very little social media presence that we have. Kajal, we have Shilpa ji, we have Shivangi ji, Satyam ji. These are the people who have been working full time. We are also training the people into building the collective conscious mindset.
So important.
So that's what it has been. It's a people-led moment where people work for themselves as well as come together and work for the nation.
Wonderful. So you've done so much till now. What is your vision for further improvement or for further growth, shall I say?
A very interesting question that people ask me. What exactly is this contribution towards the nation is going to make it happen? So the collective math goes like this. 11 months, 77 cities, 461 sessions, 4.5 lakh people touched, out of which 2.5 lakh people come together every month, and Mother Bharat has 2.5 lakh hours of goodness happen.
And if you may sort of, elucidate a little on this goodness, what is it and how is it that they contribute towards this?
Yeah. So let me give you a small example. Last year, one of the themes that we worked on was de-addiction, then Walk for Bharat. So everybody would come together, and in that particular month, 1 hour they would dedicate either working in the addiction centers or creating awareness about it, or even having the Padayatras. You remember the Walk for the Nations?
Yes.
And it's so amazing to tell you that I don't have to go anywhere. It is the people who come together.
Yeah.
They make sure that we are arranging a program. They write those placards and they go out on a walk, wherein not just the people who are participating in the walk, but the people around are also getting inspired.
So you've sown the seeds and it's germinating now.
Yes.
It's growing everywhere.
Indeed.
All right. So is this the growth chart that you're looking at, or is there something else that you would like to infuse into maybe, say, individuals, into professionals, into students? I mean, do we bifurcate it like that?
Yes. So last 11 months that we have been working for Ek Bharat Hum Bharat, what we have realized is the purpose of Ek Bharat Hum Bharat is to re-establish Bharat as a family. And who is the single most unit? The first unit is you. So we encourage people and we want to inspire and ignite this in people that every day do one act of goodness for yourself.
Okay.
An action which helps you bring about emotional, mental and spiritual stability. That could be in form of yoga. It could be in form of pursuing your hobby. It could simply be listening to some good music that keeps you in harmony. Because if you're in harmony, that's what you're going to inject to the next level.
Absolutely. That is what you're going to exhibit to people.
The second level is the family that we live with. So we are now encouraging people that once a week, come together as a family.
Yeah.
Keep your phones away.
So required.
And celebrate the unity. How? Know about the stories of your ancestors.
Yes.
Travel together. Cook a meal together.
Yes.
Share that meal.
Yes.
Just by doing so, you know each other. So the love and harmony from individual passed on to the family.
Beautiful.
And from there on, what we did last year, continuing the same thing. Once a month, come together as an institute or the organization that you are together and do the betterment. Now, at the organization level, we believe this goodness can be spread in a more impactful way.
Okay.
Every organization, as you know, has a CSR responsibility.
Absolutely, yes.
So the corporate social responsibility could be now directed towards nation building, wherein not just in terms of money, but even the manpower, we can go and do this.
Yes.
At the same time, the informal channels, you know, na, our Sanskriti is that of celebrations.
Yes.
Whether it is our families or our, colleges or our organizations, what do? We have the days culture.
Yes.
So we are saying every month have a day that is called as a Bharat Day.
Bharat Day.
When you go out
Yeah.
and along with you all informally go to a place near you and contribute with the mission that you resonate with. Just 1 hour. But collective growth, we believe, can make a huge change.
Absolutely. Anything done collectively, even praying collectively, infuses that charge.
Yeah. So through this podcast, we are not just encouraging students, institutes, but each and every Bharatiya who resonates that it's my duty to give back to the nation, to remember that we are one family. We share a rich heritage of this culture, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The time has come to remember the truth that we have been forgetting, the truth that we are one, the truth that sometimes we are not reminded of. And I want to ask you a question before I close.
Okay.
When I said, we forget.
So I'm under the scanner right now.
Indeed. We have been talking about our nation, and your
Yes.
introduction, you said the foreign invasions.
Yes.
We typically call the period of 1857 to 1947
Yes.
as the period when our freedom struggle happened.
Yes.
May I ask you a question? How many people laid down their life for this freedom struggle?
I know that it is a huge number. I would say maybe going into lakhs, but I can't tell you the exact number.
Why don't you know?
Maybe I didn't give it enough importance, or maybe I did not read it with that kind of attention when I read about it.
Indeed. That's exactly what we are trying to do through Ek Bharat Ham Bharat. Remember and remind our future. So for your reference, that number is 18.7 lakh.
I knew that it had gone into lakhs, but I couldn't remember the right number.
Unfortunately, sitting here, we sometimes watch movies like 300, which celebrates the Spartan
The
freedom.
Spartans.
Yeah,
yes,
just the
yes.
300 laying down their lives for the nation, but ours is 18.7 lakh, less than 100 years ago.
And no one actually talks of this freedom fighters, really.
Yeah,
Nobody.
yeah. So when we are encouraging people that when you are together, don't just talk. Let us explore together. Let us research our past together and bring back the glory of Bharat.
Anuradha, I've got to thank you so much for this very enlightening, insightful conversation. You've given us so much to think about. You've given all of India to think about how we can contribute towards our nation, showing our love and devotion, our patriotism towards Bharat. People have laid down their lives in lakhs, as we have just gotten to know. It is our time now to give back in whatever little way that we can give back. 1 hour a day, 1 hour a week will take us a long way. Ek Bharat, Ham Bharat.
We would also request the audience, each one of you who would like to be a part of this mission, they can contact with us. We have provided the email addresses, even the Facebook and Insta pages, and even the phone numbers. Looking forward for all of you to be a part of this Ek Bharat, Ham Bharat.
Read the caption below. That will take you to our website. All the information is there for you to connect. Thank you so much, and God bless you all.
Namaste.
Namaste.